Welcome back, guys. Please, before we start, just hit that like button down below. I know it's super annoying, but please hit it. It'll help this video get to more and more people, which obviously helps my channel. So last weekend at the Strongman Classic in Royal Albert Hall in the UK there, Iron Biby went for the world record for the axle press. Now the previous record was held by Eddie Hall, who had 216. Iron Biby went for 217 kg and he got it. Very dramatic, and I will show you the video. You have to see this, it's incredible. Now there's a couple of reasons that people have given for why they think that the record shouldn't stand. Now I will say this is a minority of people. I think the majority are saying that it definitely stands. It is definitely the world record. People say that he wasn't under control of the implement for long enough. Now in this setting, number one, it's 217 kg over the head. Like, this is an incredibly tough position to be in for any length of time. However, with any of these records, it is up to the referee. These referees are absolute experts in the field. They're the most experienced people in Strongman are the ones that are asked to be the Strongman referees. So the athlete just does what they're told. Iron Biby cleaned it, pressed it, it was up, he got the down signal from the referee, so that means the referee is happy that the lift is complete. So he put the implement down. Now if he hadn't got the down signal, he probably would have kept fighting for it. He got the down signal, that means that argument is out the window, because the referee, the guy that is there to make sure that the lift is proper and the lift is complete, he was happy that it was so. Iron Biby did nothing wrong, he did exactly what he was supposed to do, so it definitely counts as a record. The next argument, and this is the major argument that most people that had a problem with the record, this is what they fall back on, is that he had a minute to do the lift. So as part of the competition, as part of the axle press, the competitors had a minute to attempt the axle press. The problem with this is that this wasn't part of the competition anymore. This was a separate world record attempt. He had already won this section of the competition. He'd already won the axle press with 205. Nobody else was able to match that, so he had won the points. This world record attempt was separate from that, and a lot of competitions out there, there will be record attempts. They are not intertwined with the competition most of the time. They're separate events. So as you'll see from the video, he tried a couple of times, failed, and then spectacularly he was allowed to have another go, another attempt, and he managed to get it. But keep in mind that, number one, that's an incredible achievement. To fail a max lift twice and then go up a third time and get it, anybody that trains in this sort of sport will just go, that's incredible. Whether it's powerlifting, whether it's strongman, to fail twice on a max lift. If you fail a second time, you walk away. You go, I'm so exhausted. And even if you fail once, chances are you won't get it a second time. The third attempt at it, that's incredible. Going back to that, he only had a minute. It shouldn't have been allowed because he had a third attempt. He had another minute to attempt it. That would only count if it was in the actual event in the competition, which it wasn't. So they're the two main reasons why people say the world record shouldn't stand, and as you can tell, they don't really hold water. Initially, after the competition, I think was the main uproar, because people didn't really get that it was a separate event. They thought, oh, this is still part of the competition. All the other lifters, when they were doing their axle press, they only got a minute. Why should he be any different? But this wasn't part of that event. This was a completely separate one. So I'm going to show you the video now of the actual event. I'm not going to talk through it because it's epic. It really is epic. So have a watch of that and then I'll come back to you.
wish I can have another go. I want to do it again.
If you guys want it, we'll do it.
So, like, you couldn't write this stuff. That was incredible, and I've watched it, I must have watched it about 20 times at this stage. It really feels like the end of a Rocky movie, where, you know, he's failed a couple of times and everyone's gone, oh no, that's such a pity, and oh God, he's going to get beaten. And then comes back and does something miraculous. It's incredible, to be honest. And just to put into context this lift. So, number one, again, anybody that's in strength sports knows that having that much weight, being able to press that much weight, is an incredible achievement. 217 kg in an overhead press is spectacular. But if you look at the way he does it, most lifters will rely on using leg power to drive that over the head. He does it like, he didn't even stop. It was up and press. His main problem, as everyone knows and can see from it, was the clean. Now, a lot of people will say, why is he struggling with clean so much? On a normal bar, he wouldn't have struggled with clean half as much. But you have to keep in mind that this is an axle. So the axle is a 50mm bar, and there's no rotation. So those weights at the sides, there's no bearings to allow them to spin around. It is very, very difficult. You have to, the only rotation you're going to get for that bar is actually in the hands. That's where the rotation comes from, rather than the weight spinning round, which makes it a lot easier. With the axle and the thicker bar, even the people like Mark Felix with really long fingers, long hands, you're still struggling. You can't get your hands around it the way you would with a normal deadlift bar or anything like that, where you can bring it around and lock your fingers in. That's where you would normally do your grip on a deadlift. So it becomes a lot easier to keep the grip, and even then it is tough to keep the grip. With a axle bar, you're getting to around there. So that bar all the way is trying to pull away from your hands. It's really, really difficult. The shoulder power that Iron Biby has is phenomenal. As you've seen there, once he got to short, he didn't even stop. It was just boom, straight up, no struggle at all, and it's just incredible. And I cannot wait to see how he progresses in the sport. He's still young. He hasn't done a huge amount of competitions. He's more focused on just doing the overhead stuff and just doing that shoulder pressing strength. I have a feeling that, now I don't know the guy, and I may be talking rubbish here and people will tell me if I am, but I have a feeling there's a little bit of fear or insecurity about not being able to compete with the likes of Bishop and Strongman and all that, with some of the other events. I think he's sort of going, well, I'm the big fish in pressing, so that's where I'm going to stay, rather than going to put myself in with all these other guys at all of the events and all the different events and struggling. So I'll stay with just this. I'm hoping, especially with this competition that he's just done, that will be put to bed, because he came third, wasn't able to do the Atlas stones, and that's another thing that I forgot to mention. He had a huge bicep injury while he did that axle press. Now, you might think, well, the axle press, the bicep doesn't come into it that much. It sort of does a little bit. Nearly all the muscles in the body come into a lift like that, but the bicep is involved. He wasn't able to do the Atlas stones, which was the 5th event at that competition, and he still came third. So he only had 4 events and still managed the podium. That's an incredible achievement, and I definitely think he would be able to compete at the top level with the rest of the guys with all of the events. I don't think he has to specifically leave himself just to the press. So let's hope that we do see him at World's Strongest Man. It would be incredible. He really is a top athlete. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it answered any questions you have on whether that record should actually be a record, and I'll see you in the next one.